what's up? How are you? It's your friend Phil here, Project Management Trainer and Coach. Welcome to day 11 of 40 days to PMP and CAPM exam success. We are already a quarter of the way there. I really hope you're pulling up your socks, and I hope you are absorbing the content. Don't just stop at the videos. That's not the idea. This is not your typical death by PowerPoint lecture. This is just me trying to help you, trying to give you a few nuggets to propel you during your studying and to give you a few gentle nudges of what you really should be focusing on. I don't want you to focus on stuff you know quite well. I want you to focus on stuff you maybe didn't pay attention to previously, or stuff that you do not know very well. Okay? So today's module is all about stakeholders, stakeholder management. Stakeholders in the world of the PMI are those people who can affect the project, or people who could be affected by the project, people who are interested in the project, people who may want to see the project succeed, maybe even people who want to see the project fail. They're all stakeholders, good or bad, positive, negative, neutral. The negative ones are also called resistors. So all those folks, we want to identify these people. We want to identify their level of involvement, how much power they have, how much, let's say, influence they could wield within the project confines. We want people who could affect the project, people who are decision makers as far as the project deliverables are concerned. Those are all the people we want to be thinking about. So positive, negative, neutral. And one of the ways we do this is by using a stakeholder analysis talked about in the PMBOK guide to plot these stakeholders on an X and Y axis. Y axis, power, and the X axis could be interest. We talk about how much power they have and how much interest. We also have something called an influence impact grid. So the bottom line is we want to identify these folks and see how much power do they have, how much interest do they have. If they have a high level of power and a high level of interest, those folks could absolutely make or break the project. And we want to manage them close. There's actually a chart in the PMBOK guide. I want you to look out for that chart. Know that chart really well. Know the 4 quadrants. It's MK, MK. M, monitor at the bottom left. Top left, K, for keep satisfied. Another M on the top right for manage close. And a K at the bottom right for keep informed. High level of power, high level of interest. Y-axis, X-axis. Know that stuff well, and know the differences between the different models of stakeholder analysis. Also, read up the Salience model. Know what it's all about. So all of those different permutations and combinations that you would use for stakeholder analysis, know them really well. That's what I would advise. And when you have tackled stakeholder analysis, you take those stakeholders that you've identified, you take the information that you have analyzed, and you put that into a stakeholder register. And a stakeholder register is a document that catalogs stakeholders, their names, where they are in the organization. Are they internal, external, neutral, resistor, positive, whatever, You put all this information there, and you could also have some additional information about the phases that these stakeholders are most interested in, where they would like their people to play a more prominent role, any peculiar personal needs or requirements that are not part of the umbrella project requirements. You want to identify that, and you could also put that in your stakeholder register. Okay? So that's pretty much what this process is all about. The inputs need no introduction. You've got your project charter. You have a new one, which is procurement documents. Now, procurement documents are things like your RFPs, IFBs, RFNs, and what have you. All of those documents, if they have important stakeholder related information and they've identified some stakeholders in there, then that could definitely be fair game for part of the inputs to identify stakeholders. And of course, we have enterprise environmental factors that could affect the project to be considered. And we also have organizational process assets. And I've pretty much talked about what you've got in the tools and techniques. Stakeholder analysis is the big one. Expert judgment and meetings are no-brainers. And the big output is that stakeholder register. And that really concludes today's session. Remember, check out all of those things that I mentioned. All of those inputs, tools and techniques and outputs or terms that I tell you to look at. Definitely look at those, and I'm sure you will be extremely happy when you see those questions on the PMP or CAPM exam, because you'll be all over it, right? So speak to you soon. Thank you for your audience, and see you tomorrow.